Listen to who the persons are, because one day you might also be judging a debating competition somewhere in Jamaica or the world. We have a gentleman who has over 25 years experience in building Jamaica's fisheries management industry. He is the director of the Fisheries Division in the Ministry of Agriculture, Mr. Andre Kong, and he's very qualified. He holds undergraduate degrees in scientist areas of zoology, biology, and an MBA. He has studied both in Jamaica, Canada, and the United States. And Mr. Kong is the gentleman furthest to my right. Raise your hand, Judge Kong. Another gentleman who has distinguished himself also in the fish management industry is Mr. Inelik Wilmot. And he brings to us his studies and experience in environmental biology, marine science, and himself has studied locally here at the University of the West Indies. And so he has even published articles on the fishing industry. And our third gentleman is Mr. Charles Frost. How many students here want to attend the University of the West Indies? How many students want to go on to college? Can I tell you, I felt so proud when I heard that Jamaica was all the way in Malaysia and came fourth in public speaking out of over 200 universities in the world. Mr. Charles Frost, the gentleman who sits to the end, is a gentleman who distinguished Jamaica in the debating field. And so there's a lot more to all our judges, but you're hearing the persons who will be listening to you, and they will give you feedback, constructive feedback. So our teams are Bustamante High School, A and B. And I'm gonna ask each speaker to tell us their name and which form they're in. So judges, make a note of their name.
A pleasant morning to you all. My name is O.J. Lawrence, and I'm from the Bustamante High School, and I'm currently in fifth form. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Shuen Jackson, and as you can see, I'm from the Bustamante High School, and I'm currently in fifth form. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Brian Reader. I'm in fifth form.
So you heard from Team A. Team B.
Good morning, everyone. My name is James, and I'm in fifth form.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Daniel Williams, and I'm in third form.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Darissa Phillips, and I'm a repeater.
That means you're in fifth form. She's in fifth form. Have your seats. Judges, kindly indicate to me when you're ready. First speaker, Team B.
No, not the young one, the white dress. We didn't hear your name.
Shane Brooks. While the judges ensure that they have their names, you know, all these trophies behind us will be given to our debaters today and their teachers. We have medals for our quiz later on. Strategically position herself where our students can see her as well as our judges can see her is Ms. Nashika Blackstock. She's wearing the tan shirt, so make sure judges and time and speakers, you're looking at her, so she will keep you in track in terms of your time. Invite our first speaker from Team A to present his arguments. The proposing team is Team B. Oh, well, Team B, welcome, ma'am.
Chairperson, judges, audience, my learned opponents, a blessed morning to you all. Be it resolved that special fisheries conservation areas are important and should only be managed by direct users of the resources. Special fisheries conservation areas, as its name suggests, are special areas identified and in the sea that can save marine life from destruction and designated by law as no fishing zones and are properly termed as fish sanctuaries. In Jamaica, there are 14 such fish sanctuaries which aim to revive the fish population in and around these areas. Importance cannot be overstated, and as defined by the Merriam-Webster Dictionary, is marked by indicative of significant worth or consequence, valuable in content or relationship. Do you know how significant fish is to our fisherman? It directly provides him with a source of income for himself and his family. As of 2008, there was over 18,000 registered fishers. When fish populations suffer, the direct users, fishermen, also suffer. Do you know about the consequence of depleted fish stocks? Fish sanctuaries are most important to the direct users than anyone else because it affects them where it hurts. Management refers to the act or process of deciding how to use something, and therefore fishers management involves specific acts geared towards protecting and increasing fish populations. Fishers have long been a neglected group in Jamaica and have been made to feel as if their input is not held in a high regard. Fishers have long declared that catch sizes were decreasing, but the relevant authorities did not empower them or provide the resources needed in order to carry out proper management. However, fisherers are also seen as a soft target and bear most of the blame. I am sure that fisherers do not manufacture nets or most of the other equipments used in fishing, but yet still they are sold. A few fishers, I must point out, practice bad techniques and cause the majority to look bad. Speak to most fishermen and they will tell you they love their job and will do what is necessary to protect their livelihood. The impacts on fish sanctuaries are not always caused by the direct users of the sanctuary. As stated on the Caribbean Coastal Area Management Foundation website, other sources of fisheries depletion come from pollution, natural disasters, climate change, and invasive species, among other several. Presently, a particular invasive, the lionfish, can make the presence of sanctuaries of little use. The lionfish is a predatory species of fish that eat large quantities of juvenile fish. And who do you think is more adept at catching them? The direct users, the fishermen. Fisheries management requires knowledge and skills, which fishers, by their nature, are already equipped with. Boat handling, the best are indeed fishers. Knowledge of fish sanctuary, fishers traverse their areas some days of their youth. Local knowledge of individual fishers are their fish which are where their fish which is of great effect in persecuting those in breach of fishing in the sanctuary. Diving, some fishers are divers and are at ease in the water, a valuable skill which conducting surveys of fish population. Use of compass and are able to find their position and navigate difficult waters, such those having reefs. And according to renowned marine scientist, Dr. Carl Aiken, in order to operate a fish sanctuary, one must have a suitable shallow reef area with coral and seagrass, not close to polluting influences, and a group of fishers willing to operate and enforcing the boundaries far into the future. Did you hear that? A group of fishers. How important is a telescope to a man who works in a mine? Not very. Consider how much more important is a fisheries management to the fishermen. Therefore, Special Fisheries Conservation Area must only be managed by the direct users. I thank you.
Yes, sir, Lawrence. Okay. Chairperson, judges, audience, my defeated opponents, a pleasant morning to you all. A wise young man once asked a farmer, would you give a pack of hungry dogs a flock of sheep to watch? It is upon this genesis that we oppose the moot, and I quote, Special Fisheries Conservation Areas are important and should be managed by the direct users of the resource, end quote. Let me first begin by clarifying some key terms. Number one, Special Fisheries Conservation Areas. According to Ministry of Agriculture and Fisheries, Special Fisheries Conservation Areas, commonly called fish sanctuaries, are no fishing zones reserved for the reproduction of fish populations. It is therefore illegal to and punishable by law to engage in any unauthorized fishing activities in these zones. Fish sanctuary management. The Food and Agricultural Organization defines it as the integrated process of information gathering, analysis, planning, consultation, decision-making, allocation of resources, and implementation of regulation or rules which govern fisheries activities in order to ensure continued productivity of the resources. Nowhere does it say only direct users, fishermen, should manage fish sanctuaries. It is an integrated process. All stakeholders, inclusive of government, non-government organizations, community groups, fishermen, and even consumers, should be a part of the management of these areas if we hope to achieve a high level of productivity. Fisheries conservation does not only take into account an increase in the fish population, but there are also major implications for the physical environment. Fisheries conservation areas, however, the importance of these areas in promoting a healthy environment cannot be understated. A common delicacy of many Jamaicans is a parrotfish, which lives on reefs and are present in fisheries conservation areas. can produce up to 800 pounds of sand. My opponents, listen to me as I speak. Can you then imagine how much pound of sand we have deprived sea of? We are now in many parts of this country facing the very consequences. The point is, we are not saying that fisheries conservation areas are not important. In fact, they are so very important that they must not be left in the hands of the direct users only who harvest fish for their own benefits without considering the long-term effects of their actions. The fisheries resources in Jamaica since the 1980s has suffered for years from poor fishing practices and overfishing based on the premise, Masagal fish can't done. Fish pots and dynamiting have all contributed to the decline of the fisheries sector. Gone are the days of my mother's youth when she could get big slices of fish on her dinner plate. But now, all I can see on my dinner plate is just a small, ticky fish. A juvenile parrotfish to be exact. Let me break it down to you all. Statistics obtained from the Fisheries Division shows that in 1996, Jamaica's catch was estimated at just over 14,000 tons. By 1998, it had decreased to a mere 6,000 tons and further declined in 2000 to approximately 5,000 tons. This shows that fisheries management was never seen as a priority for the direct users, the fishermen. All the fishermen were interested in was catching fish by any means necessary and to make more money. As the fish population declined, so too as the catch and the size of fish. They were left up to their own conscience. However, we all know what happened. Whatever effort amounted to very little. Special Fisheries Conservation Areas of Jamaica is the most overfished country in the Caribbean, and as Natalie Zenny